Greetings, amigops and top teners everywhere. Welcome back to another edition of Top 10 with Kyle and Mike. I am your co-host Kyle. Opposite me today is your co-host Michael. He looks very good. His hair is kind of shiny in this light. He's wearing a t-shirt from our old school, and it's making me very happy. It's a good t-shirt. Now, as we do every week, we have a top 10 list. We're actually not doing that at all this week. I think we have some kind of hybrid top 15 list because we have 3 guests on this podcast, and they're here to talk about a topic that is very near and dear to their hearts. I will let them introduce themselves and the topic and the format for the whole shebang. Without further ado, what are we talking about?
Thank you, Kyle, for that introduction. Yeah, it's me, Dylan, friend of the pod, longtime listener, occasional guest. And we have 2 other guests with us, along with your lovely co-host, Michael. I'll let the other 2 guests introduce themselves as well.
Awesome. So you have Caroline, AKA Carol, AKA fiance of the pod here. And I've also invited a very special guest who is a really big fan of Top 10 KM. Her name is also Caroline. This might get a little confusing, which is why we may be referring to her as C-Murr, aka Caroline Murray.
Oh, wow, we gave away her full name already.
Oh, I forgot that's kind of...
Damn, blowing up her spot.
That's not...
I think they would have figured it out.
Whoops! Yeah. Sorry, bleep that out.
No, I think they would have figured it out when we said Caroline and she goes by C-Murr.
Yeah.
Like, I think they would have probably figured that out.
Yeah, put 2 and 2 together.
So, C-Murr, do you want to introduce yourself by telling us how you know our Caroline?
I would love to.
And then I want to hear your first day of work, like, weird fact. Give us your, like, what's my weird fact?
Oh, you just had to think of one.
I did just have to think of one, but that was for a bridesmaid page. But it doesn't really relate to anything. So, hello everyone. I'm C-Murr, as Carol just said. Carol and I went to college together. We met freshman year at Fordham and been the Carols ever since. I'm trying to think of a weird fact. I have 2 different colored eyes, which is kind of weird.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
I have one green and one brown.
Wow, that is cool.
So usually I say that, and then everyone stares at me in the room, and then my face gets really red, and that's just usually how that goes. But yes, definitely big lover of T Swift. She's my idol. She can do no wrong in my eyes, so I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, well then, this is perfect. Tell us about the topic. What are we talking about? I just want to say, before you guys introduce the topic, this was a true consensus emergency topic.
Yeah.
Like, this was the alarm was sounded, everybody agreed this needed to happen immediately. So, C-Murr, what are we talking about?
We're talking about the one and only Folklore album that was dropped July 24th. Yeah. Big fans here. I think I actually texted Carol asking if Top 10 was going to talk about Folklore because...
You did. That's why you're here today.
Because why not?
I was like, yeah, and you should join. And it kind of spiraled from there, and I'm really glad it did.
Yeah. It was funny because, well, I was just going to say, I immediately said to Caroline, like, we're going to have to do a pod on this. And I think she said, I've already talked to Dylan.
Yes, because Dylan also I think Dylan texted me the same day that C-Murr texted me, and I was like, okay, this just has to happen as soon as possible. We got to get this on the books. So here we are.
Caroline was actually the first person to let me know this album was coming out. I was just minding my own business on the drive to work, and I got an Instagram notification or a message from Caroline.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good
Caroline
opportunity.
Messaging me at 7 in the morning.
So I think as a lesser Taylor Swift fan, I can't claim to be like attuned to the T-Swift news, but you guys didn't know this was coming, right?
No,
like
no one
this
did.
wasn't like your big planning, or around the big launch. This was a big quarantine surprise.
That's also kind of why this album is so magical.
Yeah.
For a lot of other reasons that we'll dive into later, but mostly because no one knew about it. Maybe some inside sources did, but surely not the general
public.
Well,
the rumor was that she was going to re-record all of her old songs this summer.
Oh, yeah.
And then this came out, and then my heart stopped. So, so many feels.
Yeah.
Didn't we just do this for a Taylor Swift album like not long ago at all? Like
2019.
Last year,
We're talking about Lover and some college football.
Exactly.
There'll be no college football this year.
Do we know if she was just like, damn, I'm bored, time to start writing and recording this new album, or is this like she had some stuff in her like junk drawer and she was like, well, like she did it all since that last album?
We'll get into it a little bit when we're talking about the album.
Yes. I'll just stop talking. You guys run it.
I think the real reason is she wanted to be mentioned on Top 10 again, so she needed another album to do that.
Taylor, at us.
Guess what? She succeeded. So do you guys want to talk about what's a little bit different about the format here? So we like introduce the actual kind of specific topic and how we're going to do it?
Yeah, we can do that. I'll kind of describe it briefly. We talked a little bit earlier today. So instead of just one of us going through our top 10 and then the other two kind of chiming in here and there, it's going to be a collaborative top 10, but it's also going to be kind of like a draft. So one of us...
More football and T-Swift.
So all three of us, me and the two Carolines, came up with our own top 10 list, and then we're going to take turns going through each pick. And like say C-Murr has what I ranked as number 1, and she rates it as number 5. I can no longer rate that song as 1. I have to find another song to go for the next number. It'll probably make more sense as we get into it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the gist of what we're going at here.
Are we snake drafting? How does it work?
No, we're just going to go in order.
That was a good question.
It's a very good question.
Is this an auction draft? Like, you have $100.
So here's what I want to hear before we get into the actual ranking of the individual songs. I want everyone to give their... This is a ringer thing. Your tweet length review. I just want... It's got to be like your quick, zippy, what's your tweet length review? C-Murr, go. You got like 2 sentences for this.
I feel like when I first listened to Folklore...
It's already
oh my god!
tweet.
I mean, there's just so many feels. I feel like this is her. She's had like
no
3 different genres, so I feel like this is her entering her 3rd genre of music. I think this is the most raw and most beautiful album she's ever written, just because she did do it in quarantine. Everyone's locked up, so everyone's going through the same thing. But the fact that she could write 16 like storytelling, crazy, beautiful songs in the matter of months and produce it and record it and give it to everyone was just insanely impressive. So that's like 4 tweets, and I'm really sorry about that.
No, but that's... Well, I think they got rid of the character limits.
Yeah. I'm going to build off that a little bit, because I think what's most impressive about this album is that most of the songs, I don't know the exact count, but they're not about her. And I feel like a lot of her previous songs have been about her and her relationships and her breakups and, you know, all of that. But in this album, she really embodied different characters and she told from their different perspectives. So you get a lot of different material and different lyrics that we've never seen before, which is really, really cool.
Dill Pickles?
I think you both summed it up perfectly. So I'm just going to say really quickly, again, the bridges slap in every single one of these songs. Yeah. Every single one.
You know how much I love a good bridge.
Taylor's known for her bridges.
From Taylor.
Two more quick things. I'm sure I've got like 10 items, just general comments that we'll get into at some point. One is I found over the past, like, I don't know how long we've had this album, a week or two. Like almost every day I've had another song on this album stuck in my head, like unprompted. I was like, oh, this song's day to day. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then finally, Aaron Dessner and Jack Antonoff are just very good at what they do.
Totally agree.
Retweet. Oh, I don't know if we're going to get into this later, but can we talk? This isn't really related to any of the songs. So can we chat about the people who she collaborated with to make this album real quick?
Let me and Kyle give our reviews, and then let's do that.
Okay, go for it, guys.
So I'll give mine, and then Kyle, you can have the final word on this. So I got a couple feelings. One is, I think this is the album Maggie Rogers thought she was making when we did that list. I think that this is T-Swift's to me, this is very similar as a career move to Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska, where he's coming off of like this great success, really, really big sort of pop album that people had loved. But then looking back, we're like, I'm not sure this was his best work. And then totally stripped it down, got back to his roots and did something great. I think that the coolest thing for me about this album is that it felt very authentically like her voice, even as she assumed different characters. And so it felt like a really natural evolution of what she's done before, but just so much better, like a huge level up. And the last thing that I really liked was, I think because she kept her sounds so much simpler, it allowed her writing to really shine, and it also allowed the smaller flourishes to shine. Because I think, and this is no great insight, but like when you synth it up on an album, you miss out on the little things that make a great song great. And I think this album had that in spades. Kyle?
Yeah, well, this is an opinion from someone who doesn't have much of a history with Taylor Swift and who didn't listen to it like more than twice. And so I wish that I had done both of those things, I guess, because like the way that you're talking about like her writing through the voice of like different characters, totally lost on me. Entirely unclear. And I wish that I had listened more closely because that sounds cool. From like a very high level review from me, I will just say that I can appreciate how much range she has. Like the fact that this is happening less than a year after her last album and it's the same artist is pretty incredible. And the fact that I enjoyed both of them is a testament to like her range, and that's impressive. But apart from like a couple of songs, I don't know if I would revisit this album.
Okay.
Maybe you will after this podcast.
A little bit of a downer at the end of that. So Caroline, let's talk about the collabs.
Okay, so in terms of collabs, she's had a couple of people co-write and produce for her on this album. So one is Bon Iver, aka Justin Vernon, who collabed on the song Exile.
Love
so that's
Bon Iver.
That's one.
Band.
He's one of my idols. I love him very much. So that's one. Two is Jack Antonoff, who is the lead singer of The Bleachers. He's helped produce so many like pop singer songs. So he's helped her on a lot of previous songs. Lorde. I'm drawing a blank on others, but he's very well known in the industry as a producer. Aaron Dessner, who is the lead singer of The National. So also a very well-known singer, songwriter, producer. And then the last one is a man named William Bowery, who has credits on the songs Betty and Exile on this album. And after a quick Google search of like who the heck is William Bowery, no one seems to know. He is this random dude who has like no Google search results at all. So there's a lot of speculation on whether that is a like fake name for one of her friends or family members or Joe Alwyn, who's her current boyfriend. There's a lot of speculation around that. So that's kind of a big mystery, which is pretty cool because we'll get into the list, but those are two pretty big songs, at least on mine. So
good.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else has anything else to add to that.
The only other comment I would make, and Caroline, I completely agree with you. I think I saw the same rumor that it was Joe Alwyn. I think that's kind of cool that he's using a pseudonym. I did read somewhere that people are thinking that Taylor Swift made Reputation on purpose, just so that people will be shouting for kind of a stripped down album that was a little less overproduced.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
And that it just showed a lot of patience on her part to wait 2 years, come out with Lover, and then come out with this album. So just to have that confidence that I have no idea if that's true or not, but just to have the confidence to like just stick to what your plan is and come out with what I think are two phenomenal albums after Reputation.
That was quite a long game.
Yeah.
Well, I want to take it back
Not
to the Bruce
game,
comment I made earlier, which is that I think Taylor Swift has been through a similar sort of career, like a recent past few years of her career. So Bruce Springsteen writes Born to Run, which is, the biggest album of that, the mid-70s. And then he gets into a dispute with Columbia Records and doesn't write another album for 3 years, and then comes out with Darkness on the Edge of Town, which couldn't be more different from Born to Run. And I think Taylor Swift, through all of that stuff with whatever that jackass's
Scooter
name
Braun.
is. Scooter Braun. After all that crap, I just feel like...
Your space.
I know. It's hard to see how that wouldn't change a person's perspective and make them a little more cynical. And I think in all the best ways, it's clear that experience impacted.
Well, I feel like her last album, Lover, was kind of a compilation of like all of her past albums. Like she had a little bit of Fearless, a little bit of Country, a little bit of 1989, Red. And I feel like Folklore is kind of entering her like adult life and like a more mature outlook on her life, which I think is going to be a whole different experience for her and her fans. Because I don't think any of her fans were going to think that she'd be dropping an indie folk album in the middle of quarantine when we all needed like a pump up, like pop, like crazy song. But I think this hit her fans in a different way, but an even better way.
Yeah, and I do think it's interesting. Kyle and I talked about this in the context of Harry Styles, but it's just interesting when you think about historically how people fit into sort of the pantheon of artists and how if theoretically we get a 10-year run of Taylor Swift writing albums of this quality and of this genre, our kids are going to know her probably very differently than we do, because I think we naturally, like you guys were saying earlier, are reacting to everything we know about her as an artist in hearing this. And part of why this was so great was that it was a surprise and it's so different. But it will be funny if she becomes like our country bard and suddenly like our children hear her as that. And then we tell them, oh, she wrote, all that stuff she wrote at the beginning. And they'll be like, what? She started off doing 17 and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to get into the list?
Let's get into it.
We should.
So, Dylan, I am understanding the format, but I would like you to lead it because I feel like you're the artiste behind what's happening here.
Okay.
You're the project manager.
I can do that. I think C-Murr should start with number 10 because if I did my math right, she would then have number 1. And since
what a gentleman! This is her
first time on the pod, I think
I'm
she should.
So
I hope I did my math right.
My God, Dylan!
Or else I'm going to look like a jerk.
I'm so honored. Wow, this
beautiful.
is incredible. What a great night. Okay.
What a guy!
Yeah, what a guy! What a night!
All right,
fucking Dylan.
Well,
what a night!
Wow. So, I'm just going to start. My number 10.
So we're starting at 10.
Was my Tears Ricochet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, is that okay, good, or interesting?
How do we rebut?
Yeah.
So we can, Caroline or C-Murr can talk about the song a little bit, and then we could say like, oh, we had it a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but maybe not give away exactly where we had it on our
Gotcha.
Okay, that makes sense.
Number 10?
This is number 10.
So the song opens up with like a little bit of a choir. And I'm a sucker for a choir, so I was already like getting into it pretty much. And then when I was listening more and more to the song, the bridge in this song kind of reminded me of Delicate from Reputation, which is one of my favorite songs on the Reputation album. So I really loved that part of the song. Kind of getting into it, I felt like this song was almost about her relationship with like her album labels, like we just talked about, like the whole Scooter Braun situation. Like she had such a stadium power ballad bridge in a way, which I was like, wow, this song, like I just kept listening to it over and over again. I'm like, this is a pretty great song, but also kind of a song where like, if I listened to it too much, I would get sad in a way. But also interesting enough, this was the first song she wrote on the album and it was like written completely by herself. So I think, isn't that interesting? I
did not know that.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
It had to be in my top 10. There was others that I appreciated more, but I still love this song.
Yeah. I completely agree. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Caroline.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say it was in my top 10 as well, a little bit more towards the top, but that's okay. One of my takeaways from researching the lyrics is that the narrator is writing from the dead. That's like what the internet is telling me, and I don't know if I completely agree. Dylan, you're nodding. Do you have an insight?
Yeah, so I forget the exact lyrics, but it says something along the lines of, why are you crying at my funeral?
It's like, I think it's, and if I'm dead to you, then why are you at my wake?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
I will just say, so that's kind of a nonsense lyric, because if I'm dead to you, why are you at my wake? That's the only time you go to somebody's wake. It's a little bit of a nonsense lyrics. Do still like the song.
Touche.
Well,
if Dylan, if you were dead to me, I would definitely attend your wake.
Touche.
No, Mike. It's more subtle than that.
Okay.
It's dead to me with you wouldn't get it.
I don't get it. Okay.
You guys keep going.
Yeah, that was actually the only note that I had, was that it was just kind of an interesting viewpoint that she was telling the story of the song from beyond the grave. I actually had it a little bit lower. I completely agree with everything that you were saying. I think it's a really well-written song and a little bit different. And I really like the choir start, too.
Love a good choir.
I think there are more songs on this list that I think I enjoyed a little bit more. But it wasn't that far off number 10, cool. So I was right around.
I want to levy one criticism of this album, because I've been so overwhelmingly positive, and rightly so. But my only criticism is I do think a couple of songs, and not even necessarily for the whole song, but just at times, it felt a little too concept album-y, where she was trying on a particular hat, and you could sort of feel it a little bit. I felt like, and maybe I'll mention a specific song or two when we get to them, but I did think this song at times sort of felt that way. It was like she's trying to write a song about something rather than just writing a song.
I'm sure we'll talk about it. I think there are a few songs specifically that they string a story together, but I'm sure we'll get into it.
I like this song a lot. It reminded me of that song in the second half of Hamilton where it's really sad. I think it's called Downtown with the choir.
Yeah.
No. And no, not that.
Thank you, Dylan.
It also reminded me of "Chasing Cars" by Snow Patrol.
Great song.
Because it builds the beginning is like very pared down, and by the end there's a lot going on, which is like that's kind of how "Chasing Cars" goes too. I really like this song. I had it near the top of my own personal list.
Oh, stupid class.
Awesome.
Anyways. All right, I like it.
All right,
so whose draft pick is this now? Caroline's or Dylan's?
Caroline, you can go.
All right.
We do that.
Number 9. Okay, so for number 9, this is
an upset
tough for
pick.
me.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think I originally had it higher on my list, and as I kept listening to the album, I kept moving it down. But number 9 for me is Cardigan.
Wow.
So it's not my favorite to listen to per se. I really like this song, but it's not the song on the album that I'm just gonna put on because I really want to listen to a good song. After some research, I've realized that this is one of 3 songs that is the teenage love triangle, which I'm sure you guys are all nodding, so you know what I'm talking about. So I'll brief the audience. So Taylor specifies that she wrote 3 songs on this album from different point of views of a love triangle. That being Cardigan. Well, do you want me to spoil it now?
Go for it.
Wait? Okay,
you
so
can go ahead.
Spoil it.
Cardigan,
I know the songs, but you just say them.
Yeah, you just say
great.
it out loud.
Cardigan, August, and Betty are the 3 love triangle songs. And Cardigan is the song that is from the perspective of Betty. So it's really interesting. She's kind of looking back on this intense relationship that she's had. She says that, she was inspired by the image of a cardigan that bears the scent of loss 20 years later. An interesting thing for me, well, A, I love cardigans, so that hit home. B, my all-time favorite Taylor Swift song is All Too Well, and there's a line in that song where she talks about her scarf. It's like, and you keep that old scarf from that very first
That's
week.
the best bridge of that song.
It reminds you of innocence, and it smells, yeah, exactly, and it smells like me, and that, I don't know, the comparison between the cardigan and the scarf was just too much for me to handle, and I really liked it. So, big fan of Cardigan, and the meaning behind it, but again, not a song that I'm just gonna, put on because I really enjoy listening to it, if that makes sense.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah.
Cardigan was a little bit lower on my list.
Wow, interesting.
I felt like it was a little bit, it's all about the love triangle, and I felt like it was a little bit immature in a way. This album is so mature and so adult and so off-brand from what Taylor has always done in the past that it kind of reminded me of her past albums in a way. So I liked it. I can listen to it and it's good song overall, but it wasn't anywhere near my top. And there's a line in Cardigan, and it's like sequin smile, black lipstick. And on her Reputation album cover, she's wearing black lipstick. So everybody was like comparing like her cardigan to that. And I was like, I don't really get why that's a comparison. Like, it's not really making sense to me. Like, the song's okay. And I think Cardigan was also her first music video for this album. And usually when Taylor like drops her first music video for any album, I never like that song. It's like never towards my top. Like Lover, it was me, and like Me just wasn't like.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, thumbs down.
For more on Lover, see episode.
I completely agree with everything you're saying. I actually had it. Well, I had it at 8. I'm about to do 8, so I have to think of another 8, but very close to 9. A little bit lower on the list overall. And I agree with everything you're saying. It was also a bit of a cash grab. I don't know if you saw they're selling that
I did see
Folklore cardigan now. So I'm sure she's making a bunch of
This is the equivalent
merch.
of Robert Downey Jr. showing up to Avengers Tower in an Audi. It's the big cardigan games.
I do think
making Frozen
this,
2.
I do think this song is important to the album, though, because I feel like it was important not to have this album feel totally disconnected and separate from what she's done before. And so I liked those moments when she called back to her earlier artistry and things where you felt the connective tissue. So I think overall I agree with where you guys are placing this song, but I think it's more important than it is good, if that makes sense.
I agree with that, because the other two songs that go with it, you can't have all three. Oh, you can't have, you need to have all three. You can't just have two or just one of them. And I think at least one of the other ones is one of the better songs on this list.
Yeah, and I also think that it's like an important gesture of her growth is that I think part of what started to get grating as she kind of, for me at least, as she hit sort of the middle part of the last, 10 years, is that I think she was so one-sided, understandably, like we all have our own perspective, but I think she got sort of myopic in her writing, where it was like cute and interesting when she was 18 and writing kind of, from that perspective. But as she got a little bit older and was just writing about these big feuds from her own perspective, I think it got a little limited. And I think this was a symbolic gesture of her expanding that perspective. Are there two C-Murrs? What's happening?
I don't know what happened. Something just happened to my Google Hangout, but we're back.
Caroline, ask C-Murr something only C-Murr would know. I feel like we've been Russian.
3 C-Murrs or Carols.
Which is the best Taylor Swift album?
I'm gonna try to remove fake C-Murr from the call and see what happens.
This is so weird.
Oh, there we go.
That was so strange.
Man,
must have been my ghost C-Murr since I'm in a church, and it just like came.
Oh shit! It's the anti.
For everyone listening on the pod, there's a tornado happened yesterday, so there's no power in Connecticut. So I came. My dad works for the church, so I came to his office, and it's a little gothic in here, like the album. Not lying. So I feel like it's very appropriate.
It's like the perfect setting for
talking about the Folklore album.
If only it were fall and the leaves were changing colors at the same time.
And I had a cardigan on.
And you had a cardigan on. All right. Let's. Are we good on cardigan?
We're good.
All right. I'll go to number 8. I gotta find another new number 8. So now I've got for number 8 I have Peace.
Okay.
I had Peace for number 8 as well.
Wow.
So weird.
I technically had it 7, but that's all right. So I don't know too much about the lyrics or the story behind this song, but the reason I put it here, I thought her actual voice, her actual ability, like singing ability, really stands out in this song. I really like the music in the background too. At the very beginning, it kind of reminds me of the Bon Iver song "Holyfields" a little bit. It's got like the synthesizer to start, and it really felt like she kind of leaned into the whole Bon Iver kind of indie type album on this one song specifically. And then there was a bunch of guitar strumming throughout the whole song in the background while she was coming in with the strong vocals, and it's one of those songs where you're listening through the album, you're not really thinking about it too much, and then you stop and you're like, wow, this is a really, really well written and really well put together song.
That's a great comp, Dill, because I have a playlist that I add to as I go called Soothing Songs. And the kinds of songs I add to this playlist are mostly soothing. And like I would never put a Bon Iver song on my like jams playlist, but like all of his music is on my Soothing Songs playlist. And this is one of the songs from this album that I put onto that playlist. I think that's a great comment.
Wow.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, thanks. Caroline's, I don't know.
Carol, do you want to?
No, I really like this song. I had it at number 13, which is a little bit low, but
Damn.
It's not because I don't like it. It's just because I like other songs more. Dylan, I actually thought of you as I placed this on my list because I think it had a very similar like R&B, almost jazzy vibe to it, which is very similar to False God.
That was
Lover,
my comment on this song.
which I remember kind of debating False God with you on the last pod because I had it way higher than you did. So it seems like we might have flip-flopped a little bit.
Swung in the other direction.
So when I was
doing
research for this song, and people were comparing it to her relationship with Kanye and that whole situation, because there's I don't know if you guys watched the music video for Peace, but in the music video there's a line in the song called "But there's robbers to the east and clowns to the west."
Yeah.
And the east is lowercase, but the west in the music video, you can see it is capitalized. So everyone on Twitter was like, this is about Kanye. And I was...
Oh, man. We need to get the X... Can we... Kyle, do we have it in our budget to license the X-Files music?
Like, the Twitterverse was going crazy. I was like, wow, like, this could be... Like, is it her finding peace with the whole Kanye situation or what? But I thought that was pretty cool.
Interesting.
Man,
I hadn't heard that.
This up.
I feel like C-Murr, like, we can see what's behind her. I feel like what's right in front of her on the opposite is one of those, like, giant pushpin boards with yarn. Like, Kanye? Cardigans. Love triangle.
Guys, I probably should have taken a vacation day from work today because all I did was listen to Taylor and research and have my ideas. Like, I was so involved today. It was bad.
That's
I can
amazing.
attest to that. She started texting me at like noon, asking me like, "Oh, so what's the format? What do I need to be doing? Have you listened to this? Have you heard this?" I'm like, "Okay, let's save it for the pod first of all."
Oh man,
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's 8. So where do we go now?
Well, you guys are running the show, but this is normally when Mike and I would do the not top 3. Do you guys even do it? How does this work with a not top 3?
So,
if at all,
I think we just ranked. There's no 3 bad songs. We have 16 phenomenal songs. We're just gonna go and list the 3 less phenomenal songs on the album.
the 3 least phenomenal 3. Q.
So I guess it's C-Murr's turn. I guess we'll go 14, 15, and
So
then
14?
16, if that works for everybody.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So this actually plays into the draft.
Yes.
Yeah, so these songs
this has
can no
real
longer be
stakes.
used.
These songs can no longer be used on like 1 through
Oh my
7.
god, that's
shit.
stressful.
Real stakes
Super
here.
stressful.
I hope we're all on the
I
same
like
page.
this format.
Yeah. Kyle?
Yeah.
So
Did we do 100?
Consider the wheel reinvented.
So do I say my 14? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my 14 was Cardigan. So I have to.
Whoa.
Oh.
All right, so
So
say your 15.
say my
then.
15.
You have to pick a new. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
15 was Epiphany.
Okay.
Oh, my 15 was Epiphany.
Kyle,
Oh,
we
no,
are
mine-
in sync. Wow.
All right.
It's almost like you've all had a. Never mind.
So this is technically 14,
Oh, well,
though.
I guess.
Right?
But, you know,
Yeah. Okay.
same thing.
Yeah.
Same
But yeah.
logistics.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait, can I make a comment on Epiphany
Yeah,
real
go.
quick? So I had Epiphany in my top 10, and mainly because of its commentary on what's happening in the world right now. So there are some really beautiful lyrics about COVID, which is really weird. She doesn't actually say it, but there's some lyrics about how, like, med school doesn't... I'll have to pull up the lyrics, but it's like, they don't teach you this in med school, hugging or touching through plastic gloves or something, but much more eloquently than I just said, which I thought was really cool because this is very clearly a pretty important moment in history, and I think we'll remember this time well into the future. And I think this is the first song that's really come out about what's happening, and even though it doesn't come out blatantly.
Hold on.
What
about bitch you got coronavirus?
Bitch you got coronavirus.
Second
Sorry.
song.
Bitch you got coronavirus is number one.
How many times have you sung that song to me?
A lot.
Every time I sniffle, you sing bitch you got coronavirus to me.
It's with girlies saying take a bath.
Soldier Boy?
Soldier Boy.
So that's all the comments I had on Epiphany. That was actually my number 10. So it's really not
too far.
That deep into my, not too deep into my top 10, but.
I was getting heavy Sarah McLachlan vibes on that song, which I'm not a huge Sarah McLachlan fan, so that's why.
Yeah, no, I mean,
you hate puppies.
I just thought it kind of reminded me, I feel like I always compare something to Lover, and I'm really sorry about that, but I'm also on Lover Feels from 2019. It kind of reminded me of It's Nice to Have a Friend, and I hated that song.
Okay.
So yeah. Really? I actually like
You like that song?
I do. It was actually had a note here that is one of the few songs on Lover that could probably fit.
Well, yeah, I feel like it has those types of vibes, but I still don't really like that song. I just didn't I never went back to it when I was listening to it. I always skipped over it, or I was like, not really into it. So did not make.
Yeah, I actually don't think it was in our top 10, but again, there wasn't a bad song all day.
Dill, I want to say I like that game you're playing because I enjoy that game with my favorite artists. Like, how does this fit into a different album? Like, could this go on to this album? When do I think they wrote it? Like, I think that's really fun. And it becomes more fun, I think, as the artist branches out into new genres. And that'll be cool to sort of play like the... I'm trying to think of the game, but like where you have to make one connection from each album into the next. And it would be cool to follow, like trace Tim McGraw to get to, this album.
I'll trace Tim McGraw any day.
Sweet.
Awesome.
So who's up?
15?
Caroline.
Which number am I?
Not C-Murr, Caroline. You're at 15.
My 15 was Hoax.
That was my 16.
Okay, excellent. Yeah.
All right, man, we are on the same wavelength right now.
Isn't Hoax the last song on the album, too?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, so it's kind of disappointing. I feel like she needs to close with a banger.
Did you guys listen to the 17th song?
No, it's not out yet.
Oh, well, if you bought like the deluxe, I didn't buy the deluxe.
It's on order.
Not saying she did buy it. Yeah.
She bought the I'm Rich Bitch app that costs $100 and just says I'm Rich Bitch.
Well, I didn't buy the deluxe, but I was researching today, and someone said the same thing. Like, Hoax just doesn't sound like the end of the album, but the 17th song, The Lakes, really closes out the album.
Have people heard it yet?
If they bought this deluxe vinyl thingy, I guess they have, but I have not.
It's on order.
Yeah.
I'm getting vinyl.
Now at the speed of Amazon.
All right, so what's number 16, Dill?
Ooh, so that was my 16, and then Epiphany was my 15. And
So
I feel like
14?
I'm gonna piss someone off with this one. I can feel it. Number 14, I have Illicit Affairs.
That's fine.
Interesting.
That wasn't in my top 10.
That was one of the ones that I thought was trying too hard. I still liked it, though. I think it was like trying to be about illicit affairs. Title, like at its word. And it felt like a little bit too much. I still liked it, but it was a little much for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of on the racier side for Taylor Swift songs. I think a lot of songs in this album are. I also think this song has a phenomenal. I was hoping we made it through this podcast without hearing Patrick Kane's name. Anyway, I also thought that song "Illicit Affairs" has a great bridge. It's. I mean, I could say a little about any one of these songs, but I mean, you're listening to the song, you're like, all right, and then the bridge hits, and you're like, wow, this is Taylor Swift. So it's one of my least favorite songs in the album, but I still think it's pretty good. I think Epiphany.
I'm gonna get hate. That was my number 2.
Whoa!
So I don't think you're crazy though. Like I said, I felt like it was trying too hard, but I think if I hadn't been bothered by that and just had like accepted it for what it was, I think I would have.
So I feel like the album is indie folk, and I felt like this was like a true folk song. Like if I was doing this top 10 list based off of like what she was trying to accomplish with this album, this is a very good song, and also like that bridge, like. The bridge makes up for the rest of the song being like, like, I like look at this godforsaken mess that you made me. You show me the colors you can. It's just like, are you kidding me? Like I have like goosebumps just like thinking about it. Like I like have that bridge stuck in my head whenever I'm like bored or like, oh, I just have it in my head. So that's why it was my number 2.
A million little times, Kyle.
But I guess does it make in the draft? Don't like what does that make it at? Is it at?
That makes it.
Oh,
that makes
16.
Damn. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm sorry, C-Murr. I've just been knocked down a couple pegs in your book.
We were doing so well. We were on the same wavelength.
We were.
You sucked.
Let's keep it going. Let's keep it
wow,
going.
That's the first big upset we've had so far.
All right, so we're back to the list, kids.
Yeah.
Number 7. That
Number
means
7.
it is C-Murr's turn,
I think it's
right?
me.
That's right.
So I think Carol might not agree with me on this one. My number 7 was Exile.
Oh,
Damn.
Kyle, what?
That was my
your number 2?
Shots.
Fire. You're number 1 for
That was your number 2? God. I mean,
this is her revenge for what you guys just did.
Okay, well,
to Illicit Affairs.
I know, seriously. Well,
I think I've heard C-Murr's number 7
if we really debrief this, it's because I love Bon Iver so much. And I feel like if you don't have that much of a connection to him, then this might...
It's a little bit of a cheat. Like, it's like saying my favorite song from the Jermaine Dupri album, Welcome to Atlanta, is Welcome to Atlanta.
I felt like everyone...
Ludacris carries that song.
I felt like everyone that listened to this song was going to be like, wow, this is going to be like a top song because like everybody loved this collab. And it was a great collab. But I don't know, like it was a great song, but I found other songs that I just like kind of felt more, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I thought them collabing on this, like there's one, I forget what the verse is, but it's like, whatever. The verse is like incredible. They both just like sink into the same melody at the exact same time. And I'm like, wow, like that was beautiful. I also looked it up on this song and kind of like we're doing now, Taylor recorded this in LA and the rest was recorded in like Wisconsin, I guess. And yeah, and I guess, like, it kind of makes, like, I feel like the song was, like, kind of about, like, the distance between two people, and, like, that's what they were when they were recording it, so, like, that's pretty cool, but that's all she wrote.
Like I said, I had it number 2 because I'm a huge Bon Iver fan. My notes for this song was, quote-unquote, no comment, just obsessed with Bon Iver.
That's the exact
the
problem.
Exactly.
Right, that's the problem. There's really nothing... Like, I feel like other songs have way more of a backstory going for it, much more, kind of like Easter eggs hidden in there. This song I just really liked because of the song and for no other reason. So, I understand why it's not ranked as high on in your book.
I agree completely, Caroline. I stuck this at number 1 initially, mostly because, again, I love Bon Iver, and I actually thought it was a very good collaboration. Again, it picks up more toward the second half of the song once the bridge does hit, but where they overlay their vocals toward the end, I think it's awesome. And you get Justin Vernon shouting in the middle of the song in such a Bon Iver way, which I love. I think it's perfect. And you don't really get to hear Justin Verden's true voice very often. So this is
I really liked that. That was a cool revelation for me as a casual Bon Iver fan to actually hear his real voice. Because it was so much better than I thought it was going to be and contrasted so nicely with her voice.
Yep. I completely agree. And it felt a lot like, Caroline, have you ever heard of the Big Red Machine?
Clifford.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
sorry.
It's the collaboration between Aaron Dessner and Justin Vernon.
Yep.
It sounded like a Big Red Machine song, to be honest.
Yes.
You can tell that both of them had a lot of influence on this album. They're actually named after the Reds, the Big Red Machine.
Okay,
Aaron
that's
Dessner grew up in Cincinnati.
That's Kyle and I were just pantomiming that at each other.
Yeah. So it kind of had that feeling, and I just kind of started listening to them, and I'm just a big Bon Iver song, so I think it was slightly inflated. But I completely understand, C-Murr, where you're coming from. So
yeah.
I'm curious to see where you have the rest of your top 10.
I'm trying to make a Bon Iver boner joke, and can't quite get there.
Yeah, you'll get there.
I can't quite get there. I'll come back at like number 3.
Yeah.
What happens to Bon Iver when they take out his IV?
All right, that's good.
I don't get it.
His Bon Iver without the IV is BONER.
That's good. That's good.
On the spot, people. This is why I have my own podcast.
Wow.
Anyways,
number 6.
Number 6.
Who's up?
It's me. So number 6, I had The Last Great American Dynasty.
That was my number 6.
My least favorite song on the album.
On the same page.
This is my number 16.
Wow, that is crazy.
That was my number 4.
So, I like this song so much because I think this is her storytelling, like, to the extreme. The backstory is that she researched the previous owner of the house that she owns in Rhode Island, and this song is about the woman who owned it, which I thought was just really cool. The story progresses and also draws parallels between her and Rebecca, who's the woman who owned the house. And I just think it's a really catchy, boppy song. I don't know. It's different than a lot of the other songs in this album. It's definitely the most poppy, I think. But big fan. I really liked it. Anyone else?
One note on this song. My only note. Great use of the word gouge.
Yeah.
Really impressive stuff from Taylor. Was not expecting a gouge usage in this song.
She rhymed gouge with loud, I think, though. So it's a bit of a stretch, but still great. You don't get to see that very often.
And that has been Kyle's note.
I really like this song too, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I think there are kind of some funny stories kind of told in the middle there. Filling the pool with champagne, dyeing her neighbor's dog green, and she kind of like you said, drawing the parallels. Like she's now Rebecca Harkness, like terrorizing the town with the wild parties and dyeing dogs green. So just kind of a fun song.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit of a bop. There was like another song that I thought was a little bit of a bop, so that's why I put it more towards my top. I just thought it was fun and it was pretty interesting. This was like one of the songs that she told the story of somebody else, like so like in a fun way and not like a dark way. I thought that was pretty cool. And when I Googled this song, so this song's about like obviously the Rhode Island house. It seems like she used the word marvelous in this song in one of the parts of the songs. And the only other time she's ever used the word marvelous was in the song Begin Again, which is, or Starlight, sorry. And that's the other song that was written about Connor Kennedy and they went to the Rhode Island house. So I thought that was a little bit of an Easter egg in there. So I thought that was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Next number, kids.
Great. We're moving along. All right, number 5. At number 5, I have The One.
Okay.
I'm going to assume that you both had it lower.
No, I had it higher.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
I had it at
I
just had it at number 9. But still in my top 10.
So I think this one is a little bit more different than most of the other songs on this album. It's a little less folky, I feel like, than the other songs on this album, but it's kind of like the transition from her previous album to this one. And it's a lot like the very first song on Lover, which was what was the first song on Lover? I can't think of it off the top of my head, which is sad. But we said the same thing, that it was like the transition from Reputation to Lover was whatever. You got it. I forgot you existed.
We forgot this song existed.
Yeah, that's
Whoa.
right.
Weird.
Another connection.
I mean, within 16 seconds of the song starting, she says she's on her new shit, which is awesome for Taylor to curse at a song.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was gonna be my
so
major comment. Is like, so I obviously started listening to this album, and this was the first song on the album that I listened to. 'Cause it's number one, and the fact that the first line just says, "I'm on some new shit," it's just like, bam! Like
it's a declaration.
It's a declaration that this is a different Taylor than you're used to. She's gonna curse now. She's got some new material for us. I just thought it was really cool. I also love the lyric roaring 20s throwing pennies in the pool. I just think that's really cool. It paints a really cool visual because I think like the roaring 20s have a double meaning between like her crazy years in her 20s and just kind of like painting that picture of the 1920s, like, you know, really elaborate parties and, you know, stuff like that. So I thought that was cool.
Going to your Gatsby reference, the Twitterverse connected that line, roaring 20s, tossing pennies in the pool, to the song This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things from Reputation. Because there's the whole line where it's like, it was nice throwing big parties, jumping into the pool from the balcony, feeling so Gapsy for that whole year. So connecting again. Taylor did it again, as we know.
I think what I liked about this song, so I would have had this as my number 2. I think that this is the best pop song on the album. And I think it reminds me a little bit of Shallow from Star Is Born, in that it's an unconventional pop song, but it's a pop song for sure, and I like that. Like, I think it's structured a little bit differently. As a guy who knows nothing about music, you guys can correct me, but it just feels like a somewhat unconventional pop song, but it is definitely a pop song, and I think it's exactly the introduction you need to this album. And on top of that, it's just, I think, a fantastic song, and I love Caroline had the line written here, "In my defense, I have none." Like, that's one of my favorite lines of the whole album. Great song.
Another fun line from the song is, "We never painted by the numbers, baby, but we were making it count." I like that too.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's one of the lyrics that would pop in my head randomly during the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I completely agree. Awesome.
Can I ask a general question that has something to do with this album, but is more about where this industry is heading in general? When did we stop capitalizing the letters in songs? When did this happen?
So she also did not capitalize songs in, not Lover, but the one before. What was before Lover?
Reputation.
Reputation.
What did she not capitalize?
In
Reputation.
All of the song titles.
In Reputation? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting called on your old shit.
I thought this was her first album where she made everything lowercase to be like the more chill, the more relaxed, the more...
Right. So I had thought the same thing, which is why I looked into it. No. Wait.
Yikes. Oh, this is so embarrassing. No. She's going deeper.
I think I made that up.
Oh my gosh,
I made that up.
Oh, please
erase it from the plot. I'm sorry.
She's still scrolling. Oh my god.
I honestly could have. Oh no. It's because Reputation, the name.
Stop. This is so embarrassing.
It's because the name of the Reputation album is in lowercase. Like the R in Reputation is not capitalized.
But none of the
songs are.
All right. I'm not asking to be okay. I'm like half asking to be a dick about it, but the other half is asking because I'm actually curious to see if this like what your interpretation of it is and why you think it's artistically special. Like, because to me it's just I don't take anything from it and it bothers me, and I want to know what others are taking from it to help me kind of get on board with it, if anything.
I think it's exactly what C-Murr just said. I think it just kind of makes it seem a little bit more chill.
Mm-hmm.
It's a try-hard move.
Yeah.
This is a classic...
She's like, I'm not trying hard. I'm just typing on my computer.
This is a classic try-hard move. It's try-hard in the guise of being relaxed. It's the, it's like when Leslie goes on Crazy Ira and the Douche, and she's like, just douching it up with my bros, and it's like, that's what she's doing. That's what Taylor Swift is doing here.
Well, I feel like the only other artist that does lowercase was Ariana Grande, and Thank You Next. Everything...
Just chilling in the studs with my dudes.
Billie Eilish did it.
Yeah.
Billie Eilish did do it. And Mr. Wives just did it too.
And Bon Iver. Like, I think that it's a thing now, right?
And Bon Iver.
Interesting.
They're just chilling in the studio.
He doesn't even use letters.
He doesn't even use words.
There was a great tweet that I saw that listed all Taylor Swift's new songs, and they're all like Bon Iver songs with Taylor Swift twists, like 22 a million in parentheses bank account, and then it was like for Joe forever ago or something. Like
oh my god, that's amazing.
That's good.
All right, kids, get back on schedule. Let's go.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry.
What number is next?
That was number
/2.
6, right?
Number 4.
That was number 5, so we're on number 4.
That was number 5.
We're on
number
4?
4.
Okay. Which is C.
Yes.
Okay, so my 4 was Last Great American Dynasty.
Okay.
So do I go to my number 2?
You can go.
You can play whatever you got left.
Yeah.
Anything
I'm going to play
left.
around. I'm going to go with Mirror Ball.
Ooh.
All right.
I just want to say, I have no comments about the song itself, but somebody mentioned Sarah McLachlan earlier.
That's Kyle.
I'm disgusted by the audacity to reference one of the great albums of my lifetime, Mirror Ball. And that would be like me writing a song called Born to Run, and then it just being like me. This is ridiculous. Mirror Ball is a sacred text and should not be touched. But at any rate, I'm sure the song was fine.
I mean, this was originally higher on my list, to be honest, and then I listened to the other songs and came to my senses. But for Mirror Ball, I just thought, like, again, it was so in line with what she wanted to, like, prove with this album. How she, like, doesn't really have to follow this narrative of her being, like, a pop, fun, like, colorful artist. Like, I think one of the lines she says, like, I'm never been a natural. All I do is try. I'm still on that trapeze. I'm still trying everything to keep you looking at me because I'm a mirror ball. So I feel like it's kind of encompassing how she feels like she needs to mirror every version of herself that her fans want her to be, but she doesn't actually need to do that. And I feel like it kind of just is in line with the rest of the album and, like, what she really wanted to prove with it. So that's why it was more to my top. And also just, like, the melody was nice, and I feel like it's just like good mood music for when you just, like, want to have, like, all the types of feels in the world. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, she talks a lot about that in that documentary, Miss Americana, about her, like, really struggling, trying to please everyone.
Exactly.
And do everything to everyone. So I think she sings a lot about that. And then I saw on The Ringer, someone mentioned that this song was kind of like, I quote, the slow dance requiem for canceled proms of 2020.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Also, another fact with the song is that apparently at the 2016 Met Gala, she dressed up as, like, a disco ball. So she wore this, like, outfit with all, I don't know, glass things on her. And that was the night that she met Joe.
Oh, interessante.
Yes. Yeah, so I feel like it just has a lot of different meanings.
Do we think we should totally derail the pod and talk about Harry Styles' outfit at the Met Gala for the camp one? Because no person has ever looked
Harry Styles outfit.
I left work early to wait outside the Met Gala.
Yeah.
You are the queen creep, and I love it.
Yeah.
I was by myself. I was trying to sneak in. I first went to the hotel where everybody gets dressed. I couldn't see anything because I'm like 5'0". So then I ran to the Met, and I got to see Lady Gaga. I don't think I saw Harry, but the police guy was so nice. He let me through. I was like, oh my God.
That's the perk of being 5'0".
True. And I was in, like, my business clothes, and I was alone. He's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm in auditing, but I love this stuff more. So
oh my God. Wait, can you just real quick tell, just like super fast, tell them about a certain television star who you creeped on when he was doing some Broadway stuff?
Oh.
This is really creepy. I'm a lover
amazing.
of Downton Abbey, so I used to stalk the shit out of Dan Stevens. Like, I think I went to the stage door.
Cousin Matthew,
yes. I went to the stage door 7 times.
Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure he recognized me, like, the 6th time, because he gave me, like, a weird eye, like, what are you, like, you've seen the show once.
Are you gonna murder
Why
me?
are you still coming back? But on my birthday, he, like, gave me a hug, and I was crying, and he signed my birthday card, because I went to see the show on my birthday.
Amazing.
Yeah, I still love them to this day.
Wow.
You earned it.
Yeah, I lived in New York for 4 years, and I think C-Murr is the reason why I saw the majority of the celebrities that I did. Because of her creeping melodies.
Yeah. Creeper
I miss that. I miss it a lot. I'm not going to lie.
All right, so what else do we have on Mirror Ball, peeps?
That's all I had.
Yep, I had it much lower, but that's all I had to.
That's the game.
Yeah.
All right, so who's up, Caroline or
I think
Dylan?
Dylan.
No, we're just going to go 3 through 1, and then we'll do the honorables. I think it's Caroline and then me, and then
sorry.
Simmer's
Yeah.
got number 1.
All right.
Okay. So...
Oh, you can't take one. You gotta let one.
I know.
So pick a different one.
I'm gonna let one be. But
Yeah.
You got it.
So this is supposed to be my number 3, technically?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So my number 3 was the 1. So I'm gonna go down 2. Because I feel like this is an important song to talk about that we haven't talked about yet. This song is Invisible String.
Kyle, what's
Dylan.
wrong?
Oh no,
Dylan.
what did I do?
Dylan.
That was my number 1.
It was?
Number 1.
Yes. We can talk. Yes.
Oh my
That was my number
God.
3. So
Okay.
all on the top.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Okay, sorry for stealing the thunder.
That's all right.
But let's talk about this song. So this was not one of my favorite songs when I first listened to the album, and this song kind of crept its way up the more I listened to it. I think that the lyrics in the song are so great. I want to highlight the lyric that I'm obsessed with. Coal was the steel of my axe to grind for the boys who broke my heart. Now I send their babies presents. Like,
It's the
that is
best lyric on the
brilliant.
album.
Like, mic drop. And obviously that's about Joe Jonas, who just had a baby.
What is the coal? What does
Sophie
that
Turner.
mean? Coal was
So
the steel.
the whole song, she kind of talks about colors. So it's like, yellow was, the trees were yellow and the part, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, teal. There's something about teal.
Yeah. So
But is coal a color? Is that like coal gray?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I just really like that song. I think that so many of the songs on this album were told from different perspectives, which we've already covered as really cool and interesting. But this is one of the only songs that she told from her point of view. So all of this song was like about her experience, which we don't get much of on this album. So that's why I really liked it. And it's just a great song. Like, it's very fun to listen to.
Yeah, I agree with all those points, Carol. I love the song too. I thought it was a fun song. I thought the lyrics were really beautiful. It was actually interesting. I'm not sure how you guys are going to react to this, but when I was reading an article from the Rolling Stones, they connected this song to Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham and how they're being held by an invisible string. This woman really connected Fleetwood Mac to every single song on this album. And I was like, all right, you're either like...
I totally see that. That's why I said about the Maggie Rogers thing. Maggie Rogers tried to write a Stevie Nicks album and I think failed. But I think this is legitimately this feels like a Fleetwood Mac Stevie Nicks type album.
Yeah,
so
I thought it was a good song. It was my number 3, so it was like super up there. But the lyrics, like Carol said, were really beautiful. Overall, great song. That's really all I had on my notes about that.
Yeah, this is my favorite song on this album. It's if I had to pick like one song to go to, if I had a quick drive somewhere, this is the one I'm listening to. I thought that the "Cold as the Steel, Max Grind" is the best lyric on this album. And the teal that references the yogurt shop is actually Joe Alwyn's childhood job at a yogurt shop when he was growing up. He was he wore like a teal uniform apparently.
That was a really cute lyric. It felt really, it felt like really heartfelt. That I thought that particular one about the yogurt shop was really cute.
Yep, I completely agree. And the color imagery too. I just think it's really well crafted. It's very clever, and I think even the music in the background, it's just kind of like almost sounds like she's plucking a guitar the whole time. It sounded a little bit more folky, and I just really like the lyrics in this one. So that's why I rated it so high. But I'm happy it's a 3, at least.
Wait, is this number 2 or number 3?
Oh, that's number 3.
That's 3. Yeah. Dylan, number 2, baby.
Ooh, I've got a decision to make here.
Number 2. Oh no, I'm nervous.
Because number 2 I had Exile, but
thump.
Ooh. All right, I'm gonna go with my original number 3 because I think this one's probably one. I have Mad Woman as number 2.
Whoa!
Wow. That was...
Oh, man.
That's all the way
That
down
was my
on
number
list.
12.
Really?
But,
wow.
yeah, that's
Holy
my 14th.
smokes.
My 14th. But I feel like the Carolines might have a hot take on this because a lot of the lists that I had kind of pre-researched have Mad Woman very high, and it seems to be a very, critically acclaimed
Okay, so you're
song.
saying Dylan is just a critical acclaim snob?
No.
Wow, Dylan, you
sell out.
You
probably
No,
bought a
I'm
cardigan
finding
already.
lemon.
No.
Dylan, you are a
Dylan's
lemon.
clearly seeing stuff that I am not, so I would like him to enlighten me.
So Dylan, plead your case. Tell us why your idea doesn't suck.
Well, I think this song also had more of a folky vibe than a lot of her other albums. I think it kind of follows the line almost again from Wildest Dreams to Miss Americana to this song here. It's kind of like kind of like a low undertone almost throughout the entire song, and she's almost pretty I don't know what the word I'm looking for. She's like direct at what she's saying, but she kind of speaks in metaphors at the same time, which I know completely contradicts itself. But she talks about what do you sing on your drive home, and I've read that this is about the producer that she's been battling for years. Like, you are someone who's not had to produce or create anything on your own, and you need to tear me down and make me go insane. And another thing, I was reading like the day that she announced this was going to come out. I saw a tweet that said, which song of these 16 is she going to use to tear down the patriarchy? And I think this is the one that comes the
This
closest
could be the song.
to it.
Okay.
I really like, I just think it's devastating. Like, her lyrics are devastating in this song, but I think she does it so well. And it's almost like you don't even realize it until after you finish listening to it and you think, wow, what just happened? And then you listen to it again. I think the music is very, almost ominous a little bit. And I just kind of like that side of Taylor. So.
Yeah.
You
I think
convinced
this
me.
deserves another listen on my end. I feel like it's kind of one that I skip over.
Like, this is the...
Probably doesn't deserve
I think this
it,
is the first song where she uses the F word. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it on the pod.
Yeah.
So I...
Yeah. Oh, let her rip.
Yeah.
Fuck!
Church.
I'm in a
what are you
church.
doing?
Oh, that's great.
Oh, no.
And just like that, the pod ended. She was struck by lightning.
Caroline is offline.
Wow. That was so weird. And the light, just flickered for a sec. All right.
They always do that.
That's true.
I love when he does that.
Wow. What a
Are the
weird
walls
vibe.
oozing green slime?
Yeah, I felt the same way as you guys. Like, it was kind of like a witchy song. Like, she was, casting a weird spell on Scooter Braun and, trying to, make up for everything that he did to her. But it was, lower on my list. I agree with you, Carol. I kind of just skipped over it. Just, it was kind of a catchy tune, but, other songs just did it for me.
Yeah. You know what? I bet if we re-recorded this pod in a couple weeks, this might be
True.
in my top.
True.
You never know.
Why don't we? We'll just do it again.
It's witchy, Mike.
Yeah, which, hey, woman, excuse me. Apologies. That's... Sorry. I know I want to see Desperado. At any rate. All right. I really hope I know what number one ends up being because it feels like such an obvious number one to me.
I really hope it
nervous.
is, Mike. I really hope it is.
Oh, come on.
Okay, you guys
I
ready?
think we're all thinking of this.
It's got to be this, right?
Well, I'm
All right.
ready.
Yep.
I'm really nervous. I really hope it's what you're thinking.
Oh, I'm so nervous it's not going to be the
All
right one. Because then this song would have gotten totally shut out.
My number one was This Is Me Trying.
Oh!
What?
I do really like that song. That was one of my favorites. But, oh
Oh
man.
my god!
What an upset.
It wasn't?
I am shook.
I knew.
We done fucked up, people. We left the best song on this album.
What's the best song?
Betty!
Nah.
We're not done yet.
Betty was my 13.
Oh, what a turn.
Oh, turd sir.
Betty was
I'm real,
Okay,
I'm real
let's talk
sorry.
This Is
I'm
Me
really
Trying.
sorry.
Betty was my
I don't even have
Betty
any
was
notes
4.
for This Is Me Trying.
I
It's-
really like this
Okay,
song.
so
I like it,
again,
but-
at first, I was like, okay, This Is Me Trying is a good song. And then when I kept listening to the lyrics and listening to the actual melodies, and I was like, wow, this is a really good song. I just think I said it again about all the songs I rated, but it just kind of brings the whole album together. she's trying to invoke this feeling in her fans. And that's exactly what she's doing through telling all these different stories. Someone from The Vulture described this song with a lazy swagger. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know. I thought this song just like, I wasn't able to turn it off for some reason. And that's maybe like there was a tornado in the last few days and I'm like, the weather is bad and it's kind of an eerie song. But I don't know. I felt like she's like here, she's 30 years old. She's like looking back at what Taylor could have been as a character. I don't know. I just thought like it was a really good song. It kind of brought the whole album together. That's how I feel, but I don't think anyone agrees with me in the pod.
No,
I love this song.
Yeah, I really like this song. Yeah. It just, I'm just blown away that this was.
Yeah, I don't know. I really felt this one.
Okay. All right.
The first time I listened to this album through and I rated it initially, I had this at 16. But I moved it up and it's now, I have it at 12 now. But which, I mean, that's I think it was one of the largest movers 12 too.
That Dylan, I feel like our lists are very in sync with one
another.
Dylan
and I were in sync.
We should share all of our lists.
And then we fell to the ground.
You fell. We flipped.
Yeah.
I do like the horns in the background of this song. Though.
Like,
I think
the first
nice
chorus has a certain melody, and the second chorus is just slightly different. The melody, it slightly changes by like a different chord, and I'm like, wow, that was so beautifully done. Like, it's so simple, but I just thought it was just so beautifully done. Taylor killed it again.
And you talked about like the viewpoint on how she sings these songs. I think this song she almost flips back and forth between singing about her viewpoint and then someone else. I can't remember the lyrics off the top of my head, but if you go back and look, it's like that can't be about her, or that's clear.
Yeah, like this. Her whole thing is telling a story from either her perspective or a different perspective, and she kind of does that both ways in this song. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
One thing that C-Murr, you kind of mentioned a little bit is about her, like the perception of her in the public eye, and I think ironically, her arch nemesis Kanye has been spending a lot of the last several albums thinking about the same kind of stuff. Not maybe the last couple; they've been a little different, but part of what made Kanye so great at his height was his reflections on the differences between like being Kanye West the person and being Kanye West the celebrity. And I think Taylor Swift has a really interesting and worthwhile viewpoint on that. And I think this song in particular captures that nicely.
Yeah. Another comment that I would like to make is that I think in terms of our levels of fandom, it makes so much sense that this is your favorite, because I think that's just a testament to how much of a Taylor stan you are, because you are watching her grow and you are there for her every step of the way. Whereas I feel like I'm a big Taylor fan. I kind of have lost her over the past few years. And but even though I really liked her past couple of albums, but I feel like I wasn't as big of a super fan. And I think the reason why I ranked Betty as number one is because it really, really harkens back to her, like, Fearless album.
Yes.
She's talking about being 17. She's talking about,
it also sounds like a Simon and Garfunkel song, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just really reminds me of, like, the old Taylor, which probably isn't very much in line with this current album, and, like, picking a favorite song off of this album in terms of, like, what she was trying to accomplish.
Yeah. I wrote down for Betty, like, it was a little bit of country feels, Fearless. Like, there's a banjo in it.
Yep.
Like, what is a banjo do? Like, I know it's an indie folk album, but, like, none of her other songs had that. And I was like, I liked Fearless, but, like, she's evolved so much. Like, it felt like she was going backwards with Betty a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. Which is why I liked it so much, because I like the old Taylor. Yeah. Right.
I completely agree, Caroline. Yeah, I put our song and Picture to Burn.
Yes. Picture to Burn specifically.
And love the harmonica.
The harmonica is great.
So
pretty much
just plug that at 11.
Yeah, I think that's where it belongs.
Wow.
Well, Caroline technically has 11, but I assume it's Betty, unfortunately.
We can bring Betty on the top 10 board. We can...
Nope. That's not how it works.
No, this will be... I don't think we can switch around with this.
That's not the rules. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, Caroline, you're up. So give Betty's 11.
Ugh,
I'm real sorry about that.
That's okay. That's quite an upset, but I'll get over it. So I do have a question for the group, because I had a song that was ranked as my number 4 that hasn't been mentioned. Where did you guys have August?
Oh, whoa, cheater!
What?
No cheating. There, let the ranking continue.
I thought the ranking is done.
No, you just got 11 for Betty. Now, Dylan is going to rank his number 12.
Oh, sorry.
I had August at 9, which it's going to go at 12 now.
All right. So it wasn't that much of a
C-Murr,
spoiler.
where did
I had
you have
August at 6. Yeah.
I really like this
me too.
one.
I thought it was a fun tune. We're in the month of August. The song was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the third song in the love
yes, it
triangle
is.
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which also, I'm sure you saw Betty, like she mentions both of Blake Lively and
their
Ryan
daughter
Reynolds' kids' names. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I just want to say, interesting timing. Dylan, Kyle, and I have all been to that plantation where Ryan Reynolds was just apologizing for having his wedding.
Really?
And I will not, for sure, name names, but somebody I know, and I will not mention the capacity in which I know them, got married there. And let me tell you, that person is not going to be apologizing.
Yikes.
So,
Interesting.
Yes.
You know this person personally?
I know this person personally, yes. They actually went to the same college as us. But you don't know this person. I do.
Okay.
This is a rarity. I actually know a person.
What the hell? Yeah, like.
He's making it up.
Hashtag business school.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
13.
Yeah. All right. So, C-Murr, you got it. What's number 13? There's only one left, right?
There's only one left.
Oh, yikes. Is number 13 7?
Whoa.
Yep.
Oh, that's my number 16.
What is this? Cheers to
I
the
don't.
governor?
I actively
Yeah,
don't like this song.
I was going back and forth on this song. It was my number 11.
It was my 10. So
Nice.
It was all right. I mean, I felt like it was in the same realm of like passing down stories and memories, and it was mostly about childhood. It kind of gave you like Lana Del Rey vibes a little bit. But it's not a song that I'm going to put on in the car and like drive down the highway to or anything like that.
it took me right back to her song Best Day.
Okay.
Where like she's just like hanging out in, I think it was the autumn with her mom. It just kind of seemed like she was just playing around in the leaves as a child. That's just kind of the imagery that I saw in this one.
All right.
Kids.
All right.
I feel like you have done yeoman's work and just compiled a list.
I think we're all a little happy, we gave up a little bit here.
No, I like that. That's the sign of a good
the whole
company.
point of this format, though. I think that was exactly what I hoped would happen. that was awesome.
Yeah. Kyle,
This
you
was
set
fun.
an official co-host record for most listening. Nice work.
Sometimes I do a lot of talking. Sometimes it's appropriate to listen. I think we should just call this episode Top 10 with Dylan Carroll. And then with feet Caroline. Like, I mean, you did a lot of talking. So whatever, we can just exclude me from it.
I can't help it. It's a compulsion with me. At any rate. Dill Pickles, since you are really the architect of this thing, do you want to take us just straight from 16 to 1?
Sure, I can do that.
Yikes.
All right, 16, illicit affairs. 15, hoax. 14, epiphany. 13, 7. Ooh. 12, August. 11, Betty. 10.
Blanche.
Oh, no. 10, My Tears Ricochet. 9, Cardigan. 8, Peace. 7, Exile. That hurts. 6, The Last Great American Dynasty. 5, The One. 4, Mirrorball. 3, Invisible String. 2, Mad Woman. And 1, This Is Me Trying.
Wow.
Wowza.
There's some things I agree and some things I
will
disagree
say-
in that, but
Yeah.
Cannot wait for the comments on this one.
I'm
sorry, Marie.
Yeah. Oh my god.
am I uninvited to the wedding? I feel like but Betty just made me uninvited to your guys' wedding.
You guys definitely just ruined our mentions. I think they call this getting ratioed. We're going to get ratioed.
Ratioed. Yeah. Marie and Janie, I can feel it.
Dang.
Wow. Well, thank you, dudes and dudettes. That was incredible. You are wizards, all of you.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, this was great.
Yeah, thank you all for putting so much effort into this.
And yeah, Kyle, you want to take us to the bridge?
Yeah. So thank you, Kevin, for the beautiful Not Top 3 music you played for us earlier, and also our theme music. It's stanky as hell. We love you, Kevin, even though we do not know you.
Do not know Kevin.
Someone we do know is my sister Erin, and she made our artwork, which I do love so much. And so we thank her for that. And if you wanted to see more of Erin's work, of course you could do that at SantDesign on Instagram.
Speaking of Instagram, Caroline?
Yeah, so I'm going to do a shameless plug of my own... Well, I guess I'll plug you guys
you want to start with ours first?
I'll start with you. Although I definitely put more effort into my own. I'm sorry, guys.
We're aware.
It's a higher
You can check out Top 10 KM on Instagram. There's some
Is the
somewhat
10 spelled out? I mean,
T-O-P-T.
Nobody's ever going to find it. They're going to search Top 10.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. You guys know where to find it on Instagram. There's some somewhat up-to-date posts there that you can check out. It's not that entertaining, but...
What a dick! This is a horrible pitch. This is just a terrible...
It's not bad.
Oh my god!
But you can check out.
Me trying.
This is me trying. But you can check out my own personal work, CML photos on Instagram. That's the real deal.
It's great. It's well curated. It's up to date. Well, whatever. Well, I'm sure that all you crazy cats and kittens out there are listening to us on some sort of listening app. But if you're looking for another one, check us out on the Apple Podcast app, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, pretty much wherever podcasts can be found. So, Kyle, so my beloved co-hosts, that's all I have to say.
Thanks, Carol Baskin. We needed one more Carol.
One more Carol. Fucking Carol Baskin. Don't forget, before we leave, don't forget that Folklore and Tiger King are part of the same
universe
piece of
our
time
lives.
In our lives. One of them happened like 2 days ago. One of them seems to have happened in a different eternity.
It's wild to think about.
Yeah, time really has warped.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, man.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. That was a blast.
Yeah, C-Murr, go say a couple of
Hail Marys
to atone for your sins.
Yeah, it's actually incredibly dark outside of this room. I just texted my dad. I was like, come now, because...
Oh, yeah, you need an escort.
Yeah. Don't want to get locked in the church overnight.
Oh, God. That sounds scary.
Well, it is air conditioned, so maybe Yeah, we shall see.
Not too bad.
Well.
All right, well, at any rate, thank you, friends.
Bye.
Peace.